Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Judy. If you didn't already know, I am an ER nurse and travel nurse in Canada. If you're new here and end up liking this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. So I've gotten a couple requests in the comments to speak on this topic. So today we're gonna actually dive into two different paths of travel nursing, which is employed travel nursing, so working as a travel nurse for a travel nursing company, and being an independent contractor. So let's get into it. So first, let's get into what the independent contractor route looks like. As an independent contractor, you work for yourself, and there is a company that acts kind of like a middleman to get you those contracts. But at the end of the day, that travel nursing company is not your actual employer. You are just a contractor. This is actually the route that I decided to go into for reasons that I'll start talking about later on. And actually, a lot of people get this confused with being an incorporated travel nurse. That is completely different. Sorry, it is raining outside, so if you catch a little bit of that, I apologize. So I'm just gonna go into some pros and cons that at least I've noticed being an independent contractor in this field. And I'll also be taking information that I've heard on certain blogs and stuff like that from other travel nurses who experience the same thing. Full transparency, I made a list and I'm going to just read off some of the pros and cons and then expand on those. So the main difference you will notice when you're an independent contractor versus an employed travel nurse is that you actually don't get any taxes deducted or any other extra fees deducted on your paychecks unless otherwise noted by that agency. And on top of that, due to having no deductions on those paychecks, you actually get a higher rate as an independent contractor, or you should. If you are looking for a contract as an independent contractor and they are offering you the same money as an employed travel nurse, run away, because that is not how it works. That independent contractor rate isn't just like $5-6 more. It's upwards like $20 more than the employed travel nurse rate. So even when you're working overtime, that money adds up quickly. So around tax season, if you're in Canada, you will actually receive a T4A rather than a T4. A con to this is that you do have to pay some money back at the end of the year. Hence why they offer you a higher pay rate as an independent contractor. I know a lot of travel nurses say to keep between 30 to 40% of your paycheck for tax season. I have been keeping 20% and I have never needed more than 10% because of write-offs. This is not only a pro, but like a mandatory thing if you are deciding to be an independent contractor is write-offs. So keep all your freaking receipts, all your gas receipts, all your grocery receipts. Make sure you keep those because those are write-offs at the end of the year during tax season that can decrease your personal income, and then you won't have to pay as much of that money back. You won't have to pay that 30-40% back. So another pro that I wrote was that you have more flexibility. I don't know, I find that I have more freedom to choose the lengths of my contracts and what days I can get off. I've even gotten as short as 2-week contracts. But I'm always able to do as much as I want. Like I've done 2-week contracts, I've done 4-week contracts, I've done 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and I just signed a 12-week contract. So there's a lot more freedom I find, and I just have more time to explore what I really want to do and where I want to go. Then like I'm able to negotiate more because it is my own business, because I am an independent contractor. I'm not at their will, right? So it's just a little bit more freedom. And on that line with negotiating as an independent contractor, I find that I have been able to negotiate for per diems. I've been able to negotiate for travel time pay, mileage pay, accommodations. I'm able to have a say and not just bow down to whatever they're telling me that is what I have to do, you know? So again, I am the owner of my own business. I am the only employee, and it's a great time. I'm enjoying it. Now, cons to being an independent contractor. Some travel nursing agencies that have you as an employee, some offer benefits after a certain amount of hours. That is not a thing that exists in independent contractor. You do have to pay out of pocket if you want like extended health benefits, dental, things like that. But again, that out of pocket payment depends on you and how your health is and how much coverage you want, all those things. But I live in beautiful British Columbia, so I don't really think that that's a deterring factor for me to being an independent contractor, just because we have MSP, we have free healthcare here. So it's just the extended benefits and dental that I really need to pay out of pocket for, which sucks. But besides that, everything else is good. Another con, like I said earlier, was that you get a T4A instead of a T4, and they will ask you for money back this time. How much money you ultimately give back to the government also depends on you. It depends on how well you've been saving those receipts and organizing them properly throughout the year. And I would recommend putting aside 20% of your paycheck every pay period to taxes for when the CRA comes knocking at your door, because they are quick with it and they want their money now. So another con is that the pay schedule actually does differ from the employed side of things. A lot of the employees just get paid every 2 weeks from when they just worked, just like how you would as a regular employee at any other job, most jobs, I guess. So for a lot of independent contractors, we do have to wait a 30-day kind of grace period before we start getting paid for those dates we just worked. And this delay is just due to literally the process of sending in your pay sheets, them having to process the invoices, them sending off the invoices to the health facility that you're working at, the health facility having to pay them so that they can pay you. So there is a delay with all those steps. Just make sure you have some money aside and that you're not gonna not be able to pay rent and pay your bills and things like that for that time period. Another thing you need to watch out for as an independent contractor, and they'll say that in the contracts, is that you do need to have liability insurance for your practice. And you need to have proof of that, and they will ask you for it along with the other requirements. Luckily for me, I haven't had to worry about that because I am a BC resident. I work in BC and I also travel nurse in BC because we have multiple different health authorities. And with paying our BC license fees every year, it actually does include liability insurance already. So I don't actually have to pay anything else out of pocket. If I wanted to go work in Alberta or Saskatchewan or Nova Scotia or any other province that needs travel nurses, I would have to pay out of pocket for my liability insurance. So before we move on to the pros and cons of being an employed travel nurse with a travel agency, I'm just gonna go through how to become an independent contractor real quick. It's very, very easy. A lot of people try and complicate it, but they think you have to do all this paperwork and file for things and send documents. No. Basically, you just need to find an agency that hires independent contractors. And how do you know if a company even hires independent contractors? Either they will promote it and just say, hi, we only offer to independent contractors, or the other way as well. Or if you do see a company that has an employed travel nurse rate, I would even just shoot them a message and be like, hey, what's the independent contractor rate? And then they will either tell you the rate, which should be, again, like at least $15, $20 more, or they'll just straight up be like, nah, we don't take that. Sorry. You literally just send them all the requirements, which is most of the time the exact same paperwork as any other travel nursing agency would ask you for, which is like IDs, your proof of graduation, your proof of registration, liability insurance, immunizations, all that stuff, right? And then you just find a contract with them and you start working, get paid after that kind of grace period. You start getting paid usually bi-weekly, at least I've seen that. And then again, with those paychecks, saving that 20% for tax season. So if you are a human being living in this society, a lot of your day-to-day transactions are actually write-offs or can be used as write-offs, dependent on what you actually spend your money on. But a lot of the day-to-day transactions actually can be arguably write-offs. So just to reiterate, make sure to keep all of your receipts throughout the year since they may count as write-offs during tax season. Take a look at that, speak to your accountant. Yeah. So I think that's like a lot for independent contractors. Let's dive into being an employed travel nurse. And I haven't worked as an employed travel nurse. I've just signed as one before. I have spoken to a lot of companies who do take them. I've gotten like their packages and everything, but I've never actually signed a contract with them. But I do have a lot of friends who are employed travel nurses, and I've gotten some insight from them along with some blog. So yeah, let's get into it. So what is an employed travel nurse? We've already spoken about this. So you are a regular employee to this travel nursing company, and yeah, just as you would a health authority. I just thought of another con because it actually pissed me off. When you are not working. So let's start with the pros. So some companies do offer some benefits after a certain amount of hours. Do I know exactly which companies and what benefits they include? No, but you can actually go ahead and ask them and see, and they might have it promoted on their website. You can reach out to the recruiters and see what kind of things they offer, but a lot of times they do have some sort of benefits. Another pro, independent contractors get the T4A You as an employee get a T4, making tax season so much easier for you. You don't often need to keep receipts, organize everything, figure out how much you need to pay back to the CRA. Oftentimes you're getting money back, just as you would as an employee for a health authority, because of the fact that everything is already deducted on your paychecks. Some companies might offer benefits like a medical plan, vision, dental, life insurance, prescription drug reimbursement, a lot of different things, just regular health benefits, stuff like that. If that's something you are needing and don't really want to pay out of pocket for, or you want a discounted rate, that's definitely a good route to go. Employee, you are also more likely to get per diems, to get car rental reimbursements, other benefits like that. I find that if you are one of those people that really likes everything to be taken care of and just want to go work and then not worry about anything else, this is a great route for you because everything's done. The deductions are all taken off. You don't have to have a crazy tax season. You literally just send in your T4A. And yeah, your accountant does their thing and you really feel like everything's been taken care of. And that's exactly how it's promoted. So a lot of people love to go that route. Now into the cons to being an employee. I think the biggest thing is that your paychecks will not be as big as the independent contractor paychecks. You will be taking home less money than the independent contractor, and that's because of the deductions and the lower rate as well. Another con, you are not self-employed, you are an employee, so you do have someone to answer to, right? And with that comes less freedom. I know one of the major companies that I spoke to that only hires employees, it's actually in their contracts that if you're not actively working on a contract, you need to check in with them every 2 weeks and give them an explanation as to why you're not on a contract, which to me, I don't know, I just don't like answering to nobody anymore. So like, I don't know, if you're into that, sure, but I love the freedom and I love that feeling of I own me and these companies can't tell me what to do. So if you don't like answering to nobody, that might be an issue for you too. Another thing is a lot of these companies do require a minimum length of contracts. It's often ranging from like 6 weeks to 12 weeks. So if that's an issue for you and you're looking for more like shorter contracts, 2 weeks, it might be worth it to go the independent contractor route. So final thoughts on what I think between being an independent contractor or being an employee for a travel nursing agency. In all honesty, I feel like I wouldn't even do travel nursing in my province, at least BC, if I were to just do the employee route, because the money wouldn't really be worth it. I feel like I could get that exact same rate at my hospital where I get to work the job that I love with the staff that I love in the environment that I already know. Like, why wouldn't I just stay home? However, it is totally dependent on the person, but personally I am one of those people that doesn't like to stay stagnant and I do want to progress. And it's not just to say that I am here only for the money. I just feel like we do so much as a nurse that it's okay to want more for yourself and to want to be compensated in the way that you deserve. That's me personally. I feel like I have so much respect for nurses and the nursing profession that I think that we do deserve more. And don't be afraid to go and get more. And being a travel nurse is not easy. You as a travel nurse are expected to work in these different settings, a different facility that you're used to, completely foreign to you, get very minimal orientation, if you get any orientation at all. You're expected to pick up the flow really, really quickly to help that shortage. And on top of all that, you're away from home, away from your family and your friends. Of course, you get to explore these amazing new places, make friends on contracts, but that's a lot to ask for the same rate as your hometown. I personally don't have any kids, but I've met a lot of travel nurses that do. And imagine they have to leave their families and their spouses and go to another province possibly for these assignments and contracts. Nurses need to realize their worth and realize that we are a necessity. Our healthcare system literally falls apart if we're not there. Like, they physically cannot run without us. So I guess my final words for this video would just be, don't settle. Do not settle. Just don't. You deserve more. You deserve more, and it's okay to know that and be told that. Yay! So we made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really should be more consistent, but I am working on that. And yeah, I hope to catch you guys next time. Bye.